Hello, Vintage Outboard Motor fans. This is Team Mike here in South Louisiana, making another video today. Today's video is going to be on props and what the best prop for your vintage outboard boat and motor would be. So this is going to be a 5-part video. All right, and once again, this video is for beginners. There's a lot of experts out there that know everything there is to know about props. There's so much out there that it can make your head spin. Get it? So this is for beginners, just to give you the basics of how the prop works, what it does, and how to make your decision on what the best prop for you. And once again, I'm covering the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s Johnson and Evinrude's 3 horsepower, 5.5, 7.5, 9.5, 10s, and 18s. That's what this video is going to cover, those models. All right, so as I said, it's going to be a 5-part video. All right, the first part of the video is how does a prop work? What is the science behind what makes a propeller propel the boat? All right, second part of the video is going to be what are the props made of? What are the different types of materials that are used for the props that are out there? Third part of this video is going to be the characteristics of the props, as in shear pins, rubber hubs, prop nuts, different things like that. All right. Fourth part of this video is going to be 2-blade versus 3-blade. Awful big subject in the smaller vintage motor world. All right, and then finally, the fifth part and best part is going to be how to pick the best prop for your boat rig. I'm going to give you a couple of resources that you can go to find out what the recommended prop is, and then you can take it from there. All right, so if everybody's ready, here we go. All right, first part of the video, part 1, is going to be how does a prop work. So the basic prop looks like this. This is a 2-bladed, and it sits on your motor in this direction. Slips on your outboard lower gear case right here, Prips. And the outboard motor, all right, spins clockwise, which in turn spins this prop clockwise. All right, clockwise. So as it's spinning clockwise, the blades are bent at a certain angle, which is called the pitch. All right, we're going to talk about that in a minute. All right, the pitch causes this blade to corkscrew through the water, grab water, and push it out towards the back to propel you forward. All right, think of it like a wood screw that you're screwing into the wood. It's got a pitch of threads on it. It's grabbing that wood and sucking itself through. Well, this pitch on this prop is screwing through the water and pulling itself forward, which pushes you forward in the boat. All right, then of course in reverse it goes the opposite direction. So that's how the prop works. All right. So let's talk about what the props are made of. All right. So the early days, the props were made out of pretty much the same material. The motor was made out of aluminum, dirty aluminum. It's an example of an aluminum-based prop. Advantages: cost, not expensive, pliable, gives a little bit enough to give in the water. The negative towards them is they do break. They do shear or break off. All right, but that's the majority of the material used on the smaller vintage motors that we deal with. All right, then the other type of material that is out there for the smaller motors are brass props. All right, so this is an example of a brass prop, probably for an 18 horsepower larger motor. Advantage of this material is that it's pliable, doesn't break as easy, it's stronger. All right. Negative of it is it's heavy. Brass is very heavy, so there are brass props out there. Then another material used on props, not necessarily on the 20s and lowers, but when you get into the biggers, the 35s and the 50s and 70s, is stainless steel. And of course, this is the best material for it. It's strong, not as heavy as brass, very strong, very durable, very reliable, and it can also be bent. A lot of people will cup this to create less cavitation, hold more water around the prop. So that is another material that's out there, stainless steel. All right. So let's talk about the characteristics of these hubs real quickly before we get into the meat of the subject. All right. So in the beginning, the earlier props, all right, have a shear pin that goes through the prop, all right, and this shear pin, all right, runs right through here and shears off when you hit something strong, all right. So that's the shear pin is a sacrificial piece of metal that shears and stops from the damaging of your drive shaft and your motor if you hit something in the water. So the shear pin. So the propeller bar slips through and the drive shear pin goes here. Goes through the prop shaft right here, and then the prop nut, which is a rubber nut, all right, it's rubber, slips over that section here and holds it in. That's the early props, all right. Then they made some advances into the characteristics of the prop. So the prop shaft, they installed rubber bushings inside of the prop, all right. So this is a brass core cylinder with rubber around the outside that's pressed into here, so that when you put your shear pin here and slip the prop on the prop shaft, that shear pin sits right there, and when you hit something, a stump or a hard bottom, that rubber gives. It's like a clutch. It gives and spins on not to break the shaft or the shear pin or your drive shaft or the power head. So that's a major advancement they made in the characteristics. They also went to a screw-on prop nut that screws onto the prop shaft. All right, so now you have the prop shaft, you have the shear pin, you have a rubber hub, and then you have a prop shaft. By the way, if that rubber hub ever spins on you, I have a video on that. You'll get to a certain speed and then it just starts spinning on the prop shaft and you're not gaining any speed. You have a slipped hub. All right, bring that into a prop shop. They'll press it out and press you a new one. It is replaceable. All right. So now let's talk about pitch and other characteristics of props. Pitch is a big deal. Pitch is defined as the number of inches that a prop moves through the water per revolution. Okay, so that's the theoretical value of this prop, meaning that when it spins one spin, how many inches did it go through the water? So the number, this is I believe this is let's just say this is a 9 by 20. So 9 by 20. The first number, 9, is the diameter from blade tip to blade tip, 9 inches. And 20 is the pitch, which means it moves 20 inches for one revolution. Okay, that's a theoretical value of the pitch. The actual value of the pitch is figured by factoring in the slippage. All right, the slippage is defined as the drag applied to the prop. The slippage is defined by the drag placed on the prop that is determined by weight, wind, different values that change from one time to another. So the theoretical value is 20 inches. The average difference with slippage is 14%. So 40% of 20 is 18 or 17 point something would be the actual pitch. But everybody rates it by the theoretical, so 9 by 20. 9 inch diameter, 20 inch pitch. Okay? And we're going to talk about that later when we get to the best prop for you. All right. So now the fourth part of this video is 2-blade versus 3-blade. So I get that question all the time. What is the best prop for my outboard? A 2-blade or a 3-blade? All right. So what's the difference? What is the difference in characteristics of a 2-blade to a 3-blade? All right. So I'm going to try to explain that to you now. So a 2-blade, all right, has one less blade, actually, so it can spin faster because it has less resistance, one less blade, all right? So the two things that you worry about when you get in your boat are the hole shot. Your boat is started like this. When you give it the gas, the front end comes up, and you want it to shoot out the water and plane off. It's called the hole shot, all right? So a hole shot is one factor. Then the next factor is top end speed, how fast you get going when you're at full speed. So a 2-bladed prop, all right, will spin faster, but it grabs less water, so the hole shot is not as good. It's gonna take you a while to get out of the water and plane off. But once you plane off, because it's only got 2 blades, it can spin faster, you're gonna get better top end speed. So if you want top end speed, take a 2-bladed prop. The 3-bladed prop, because it has 3 blades, all right, grabs more water, all right, when you take off, and the hole shot is faster. All right, so more power at the beginning. The hole shot is quicker. When you get on step, because it's got more blades in the water, it can't spin as fast, so the top end speed won't be as fast. Now, you may get some arguments from people on this. I'm going to tell you that on the motors that I work on, 20 horsepower and less, not much difference. Unless you're heavily weighted down and you're looking and you're not able to get on step. But for the average 1 to 2 person riding in a vintage motor, 15, 18, 10 horsepower, I would always pick the 3-bladed prop. You're not going to gain that much more speed with a 2-bladed, and you're going to lose the shot, the hole shot, to get out the water. So that's 2-blade versus 3-blade. That's the T-Mike version. All right. So now the fifth and final part of this video is on the best prop for your boat. All right. So I'm gonna give you 2 resources here to be able to figure out what that is. The first one is marineengine.com. Get on that site, put in your model number and year and brand of your outboard. In this case, I'll put in a 1958 QD18, 10 horsepower. And you look at the chart, and number 56 shows you what prop goes for that. You look at number 56 on there, and it tells you it's 8 1/4 by 8 3-bladed prop recommended for that boat. That's how you find the best prop. Here's another resource. It's Evinrude Johnson outboard application chart. It gives you the pitches and the diameters and the blades of the props for your motor. You can also use that chart to find out what's recommended for your boat. All right. So that's how you would find out that the manufacturer's recommendation of the prop for them. Then you can go from there and test a 2-bladed, 3-bladed, see what's best for you. So that's everything I know about props. I hope it was informative. I hope it really helped you. And just remember, here at T-Mike's Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time. See y'all next video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Here at T-Mike's Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time. Please click on subscribe. I guarantee to provide weekly videos. Au revoir mes amis, and laissez les bon temps rouler.